Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I wish I could have enjoyed this book more or had more fond feelings for this book, because I went in having, I think, quite high expectations. It's a book that's raved about quite a lot for just like gay young adult fiction, and so I was really looking forward to reading it. And from Will Grayson, I really liked his writing, and then my sister always raves about his writing as well and said he's really good, and so I went in like really hyped for the book, and I didn't really enjoy it. Best way to sort of split this is I actually thought the writing was wonderful, like the whole way through. I'm scrolling past loads of places I haven't, but the whole way through I annotate parts of the book just with lines I absolutely love. And the last paragraph, I think I actually just drew a massive heart round. Yeah, just a massive heart around the last paragraph, just because I think it's so pretty, some of the words he uses and the way he describes moments in life, like listening to music and things like that. It really brings moments of life and explains them almost perfectly in quite an original way, and I really enjoyed that. However, the actual book itself, like the plot and the characters, I really had trouble with. For a young adult contemporary novel, not being able to believe in the world that's been presented is quite a big thing for me, and I don't believe a single thing about this world, rather unfortunately really. I hope that there's someone in the world like this, and hopefully someday someone will prove me wrong, but it all seems far too accepting, and just everyone's so equal and level-headed, and there's no just stupid ignorance from anyone, and I struggle with that. Basically what this book feels like is, you remember when you were younger and before you went to senior school, and sort of you had all these ideas about what senior school was going to be like and all the wonderful things it was going to do and how open everyone was going to be, and there was no cliques, no divides, and everyone was just going to be really happy and good friends. And I don't know if anyone else had that idea, but that's kind of the idea that I got from watching a lot of TV shows and things, like sort of the underdogs became cool, and kind of the idea that a lot of TV and the media and books kind of present to you. So that's kind of, and it feels like a sort of a younger child's fantasy of what high school's going to be like, and not what actual senior school is like, because senior school is nothing like this that I remember. I'm not saying I had a particularly hard time at senior school. I didn't. I enjoyed my time at senior school. I wasn't bullied or anything like that. I'm just saying I know for a fact that if some of the characters were real and in senior schools, they would no way be in the position they were in or be accepted the way they are. Like the way that they have sort of, one of the characters, Infinite Darlene, is like the head of the football team, like the quarterback, but also transsexual or transgender. I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% what label to use. So sorry if I get that wrong. If anyone knows, please put down in the comment, because I have no idea. But she dresses, well, because I don't even want to use the wrong pronoun, because I don't know if I'm meant to be using, I think I'm meant to be using she. She dresses as a woman, but not like sort of a woman as in feminine, like very over the top and quite like a transvestite. But I think that's the intention, at least that's what I've got from the book. I have no real idea, I have no concept, so if someone can explain it to me because they understand what's going on, please do, because I don't sort of want to put her in a wrong category or label, or even if she's not in one, just I'm trying to work out roughly where she is and where she stands when talking about her or him. Again, I'm not really sure what pronoun I'm meant to be using here. I'm a little bit confused. But yeah, but everyone's just so accepting of that, and she's just like the head of the football team and the quarterback, and I don't think that would happen, upsettingly, in this world. And the way people are so open with their sexualities and comfortable with their relationships and things, I don't think that would happen either, because if you did that in most senior schools, there's a high chance you're going to be bullied and things like that. So it's kind of upsetting. It's like this tiny little bubble that portrays this amazing world. And I actually agree with quite a few comments that I've seen about it, that actually that's probably more harmful than helpful, sort of portraying how accepted these people are when in reality people aren't, because then are they going to start thinking that there's something wrong with them when there's not? And I don't know, I just wasn't comfortable with the plot at all. No, not the plot, the world, the setup. I didn't think like it was realistic, and I felt like it was giving false hope and false ideologies to people, because that's not the way the world is, unfortunately. or I'm really cynical and there's actually part of the world like that, in which case let me know, because I'd love to visit there. But yeah, that was my sort of first big issue. And my second one was I didn't really like the characters. I found most of them rather infuriating and couldn't really understand their motivation for anything. That makes sense. Like, the reason they did things seemed so out of character and inconsistent, and it didn't really make much sense to me. So I didn't really like them as characters. Just as actual characters, like as people, they weren't too bad, but as actual characters, I just found them very badly constructed. However, I did quite like Noah. I thought Noah was a well-constructed character. I enjoyed his character. And I think Tony, I quite liked Tony. Though again, I found parts of his storyline quite infuriating because it felt quite repetitive. But then again, maybe it had to be. So I don't know. But everyone else I found rather infuriating and irritating and very inconsistent. Like the main characters, the sub-characters not so much, but then they didn't really have much of a place to develop. But yeah, so I wasn't very keen on the characters themselves. To give a quick summary of what the book's about, basically the main character is called Paul, and we follow his story. He's like openly gay and has basically been known he's been gay his whole life, and so everyone around him was kind of known as well. Like, I think there's a great quote actually from it where he's in sort of, I think they say kindergarten, but like nursery, and his teacher was explaining to him how that he was definitely gay, and then he kind of turns on and admits that he likes boys, and he's sitting there and he's basically saying that he thought that the man and woman thing was just another adult quirk, like flossing, and I thought that was really funny. So I quite like that. So you've got that sort of character who's always been very comfortable with who he is and always known who he is. So he's kind of had it easy in some respects, I think you could say, because he kind of has always been very comfortable in knowing where he fits in life. And you have his best friend Joni, who is female, and I quite like their earlier story when it's described as she tries to kiss him when they were younger, and she's like, "Don't you like me?" And then he was like, "Oh no, I'm gay, sorry." And then she's like, "Oh, okay then," and they just carry on. And I thought that was really cute actually, and that was quite believable, because I think quite a lot of children quite like that, so I quite like that aspect, kind of a believable part of the acceptance. And then you have Tony, who is Paul's sort of best male friend, and they're really close. And Tony's also gay, but his parents are like really strongly religious, and so he has quite a hard time about it, and he doesn't really know where he stands. He's not completely comfortable with himself yet. So that's sort of our main setup. And you basically just follow the little bubble that's Paul's life, and sort of trials and tribulations and relationships they were going through and people in his life are going through and things like that. It's basically just like a high school sort of situation plot thing. I'm switching from high school to senior school because I'm trying to use high school when I'm talking about the book, because it's set in America, so I'm trying to keep it consistent. So that's why the swap is happening, if anyone was wondering. But yeah, if I kind of had to sum how I really feel about this book, is I love the writing and his writing style, and so I am actually going to read another one of his books to see maybe if it sort of picks up and his plot and character development gets better and the world he creates, and I'm hoping it does. But yeah, but the actual plot and the characters and the story I wasn't that keen on. The plot was nothing spectacular, and then most of the characters I had a problem with, and the story, the outline, as you know, as I've already stated, I had a problem with. And so it balances that way. And so fantastic writer as in writing style, but I wasn't really impressed with anything else. But as this is his debut standalone novel, maybe he will get better as he continues to write, and so I want to give him another chance, basically, because his writing was enough to capture me and intrigue me the whole way through, which is quite impressive for the rest of the book that I don't really care about. Though again maybe it also had that ability because it's actually quite a short book. It took me about 2 days to read. I say 2 days, it was more like a day and a night to read. However, one of those days I was travelling the whole day, so maybe that's why I got through it more quickly. Maybe that's why I got through it so quickly, because it's, as I said, it's quite a short book with really pleasant writing, and so it was just quite an easy read. Definitely sort of your commute kind of book, or beach time kind of book, if you don't really want to have to focus on something too much while you're doing other things, but also still quite enjoyable. But yeah, that's basically the sort of book. I would give it a 5 out of 10. Mainly because I feel like the writing was superb, as I've already stated, so that deserves like the full 5, so full half marks. But then the rest of it was kind of lackluster and sort of mediocre. So I don't really want to give it any other marks or anything else really, because I don't feel like anything else really deserved a point. But there you go. If anyone else has read this book, I would love to know what you think in the comments of this video, especially about the world that he creates, sort of the idolised, fantasised world, and where you stand on it, and what do you think it was successful or not successful? Were you uncomfortable with it, or did you just quite like the idea of reading a book about a world that's really nice and pleasant for once? Because it's actually a really happy book, and it makes you feel really happy when reading it, so maybe that was his intention in the first place. But yeah, I would definitely pick up another one of his books, but I probably will never read this again. And I'm not sure if I'd recommend this or not. Maybe just find like a board or a post or something somewhere, just like great quotes on this, but otherwise I don't really know if this is actually worth reading. Though it is quite short, so maybe it is. Maybe it's worth a quick flick through. But yeah, that's where I stand on this, and I will see you soon.